Good evening. My name is Norm McCourt, your host at City Limits, the show that provides you with information about the people, places, and events that shape the character of our community. Joining me tonight is Dr. Grayling Tobias, Hazelwood School District Superintendent. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Mayor.
We've been wanting to get the school on for a long time. We finally got the school district on, and you know, as we were talking a little bit earlier, the main reason people move to a city is the housing stock and the schools. So welcome, and we'll get some good information here today.
Yes, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Thank you. Let's talk about the Hazelwood School District first. It's one of the largest school districts in St. Louis County.
Yes, in fact, we are the third largest school district in St. Louis County, behind the St. Louis Public School System and the Rockwood School District. We have 32 schools, and we have 20 elementary schools, 6 middle schools, 3 high schools, and 3 early childhood centers.
Wow, that's impressive. That's a lot of schools to take care of. When recently, you know, last few years, they've been increasing middle schools, and I think they increased the size of the high schools, didn't they, to accommodate you guys kind of got to go with the flow of what the babies are born, right?
Yes, exactly. Overall, we have about 18,000 students, and our community has been so supportive of us. We passed 2 bond issues and a tax increase in the 12 years I've been in the district. And so during that time, we built 4 new middle schools, and we remodeled all of our schools, both elementary and our high schools. Okay. And we're finishing the last year of a 10-year facility management plan.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, you know, throughout the years, the curriculum has changed dramatically. I know when I went to high school, they had a new thing coming out. It was called a calculator, and those things were like, I think the first one I bought was like $180 or something like that, and all it was a little red LED, and, you know, it was kind of like a calculator. Now they got computers and smartphones, and it's going to be amazing what students will be doing in, you know, say 10 years from now.
Well, absolutely. We are preparing students for jobs that don't even exist right now, and we're upgrading all of our technology infrastructure, and that's a big, big job, and so technology is the wave of the future.
Yeah, I noticed a couple of times in the paper they have robotic type, I guess, what does it be? Kind of like meets or something, where all the schools bring different robots and.
Yeah, I'm proud to share.
Amazing.
I'm proud to share with you. About 2 weeks ago, Hazelwood hosted the Gateway Robotics Competition, and it showcased Hazelwood, and it also showcased St. Louis area students who were interested in science, technology, engineering, and math, otherwise known as STEM. We had 4 states represented. We had teams from Illinois, Oklahoma, Missouri, and Arkansas, and we have 25 teams there. We had colleges and universities there, so students had the opportunity to talk to colleges there. It's a big, big thing right now. We had over 1,000 people attend that event.
That's amazing. I mean, that's when I went to school, you never thought of that. So, yeah, my grandson, I was amazed that he's in, let's see, they're in 3rd grade, I believe, and they're already learning basic algebra. I didn't have algebra until I was in college. So, I mean, it really pushed the curricula down to where, you know, you learn the basics, and I guess it makes it easier when you get into, you know, college and high school.
Yeah, we are focusing in on the fundamentals. It's not the same math that they taught us, you and I, when we were in school. It's a math investigations unit where students come up with their own answers, and every student, if we have 25 students in a classroom, there may be 25 different ways a student can get the correct answer.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, at least I'd have a chance that way, though.
Right. As long as you can explain it,
Yeah.
Explain how you got the answer. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, math and English was not my best subjects, but you know, as you get to college, you have to what you skip going through school and think you're going to, you know, you're smart by skipping it. You have to take it when you get into college.
Absolutely. Our goal is to make sure that all of our students are ready for college and are ready for a career, because As you know, all students may not be able to go to college or want to go to college, but we want to prepare them for technical skills and a career also.
That's a real important point. You know, a lot of people think you're not going to have a good job if you don't go to college. That just really isn't true. There are a lot of jobs out there that pay very well, and sometimes a lot better than college graduates.
Absolutely, and they can get those skills earlier, technical schools, and through the technology. For example, we talked about STEM before, and those are two areas where students can really focus on their career earlier. The other thing is we're part of the A+ program, so students have an opportunity to get 2 free years of education paid for at a community college, and then sometimes they can transfer, those hours if they want to continue to go to a 4-year school.
Okay. Now, in other words, they can. Now, is this taking college courses in high school, or is this after you graduate from high school, you can go into that 2-year program?
We can. We offer in Hazelwood the opportunity for students to take college credit. That's called dual enrollment. But also, if they qualify for the A+ program, they can have 2 full years of their college free of charge, paid for.
Hey, that's not a bad deal.
That's great.
I know it took me like 8 years at night school. I went 1 year to Mizzou, and then after that, I think it was like 8 years in night school to get a degree. So 2 years of college right out of high school is a good option.
Absolutely, and you won't have that debt also.
Okay. Now, does the state of Missouri pay for that, or does the school pay for it? Who pays for the college?
The state of Missouri pays for it. They have an agreement with many of the junior colleges, community colleges.
Okay. Now, what are some of the qualifications for an A+ program? What do you have to do?
Well, they have to have strict attendance. I think it's a 95% attendance rate. They have to take so many classes. They have to do well on the MAP test, particularly the Algebra 1 test. So those are a few of the qualifications. And they have to be very, very good students.
Well, in my case, it'd be back to night school. You hit that algebra there.
No, I'm sure you'll do. I'm sure you'll do. We start with algebra concepts in 3rd grade, so I'm sure that you will be able to handle it.
Yeah. It's amazing. I don't know exactly why. Algebra always killed me. I actually got an A in calculus, and I got a D in algebra. So
go figure.
I don't understand that. I can understand calculus. It makes sense to me, but algebra just does not. Right. So I don't know. I guess all students are different, right?
That's right. Every student is different. Every student has strengths, and so what we try to do is build on the strengths.
There you go.
Yes.
What you had mentioned earlier when we were talking prior to going on the air that there's 3 goals. Let's kind of talk about those a little bit and see where we go.
Absolutely. Everything that we do in our district centers around our 3 goals. Student achievement is first and foremost. Professional development, and then family and community engagement. Let's talk about student achievement. This past year in 2014, according to the Missouri Annual Performance Report, our district did very well. We scored 83% out of 100% on the report card, according to the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. And that ranked us 2nd highest district in terms of student achievement in the North County area. Our district is fully accredited. We make no apologies. We want to be a school district that is accredited with distinction. We're at 83% now. Our goal is to make it to the 90% mark. If I may, I can brag about some of our students. We have students in some of the most prestigious colleges and universities in the country. We have a student at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. We have a student at Princeton. We also have a student at Notre Dame. And so we have students all over the country. And maybe I'm biased, but I think we have the best students.
When you're saying you have a student in all those colleges, these are scholarship students.
Absolutely.
Correct? I mean, that's a very important distinction. I mean, your parents can pay for you to go there, but this is scholarship students.
Absolutely. With respect to the Notre Dame student, it was a $157,000 scholarship with grants and scholarship money.
Wonderful.
Very impressive.
Very impressive.
And I will say this, the class of 2014, last year, the senior class at West, East, and Central, they amassed over $15 million in scholarships.
That's great. That's really good. What What about athletics and, the schools now? Each of the schools I know has a football team and a baseball team and so on. What part does athletics play in the schools now?
Yeah, they play a very, very important role. As we said, student achievement is number one, but the co-curricular activities play an equally important role. We want our students to have a sound mind and a sound body, and so that's where the co-curricular activities come in. Not only the sports, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, softball, volleyball, but also the arts and music and drama. All of those help to create a well-rounded student.
Mm-hmm. You also have a lot of other activities, don't you, after school that they can, kind of like hobby type activities?
Yes, I mean,
that are, that if the student has interest in it, they can partake of these, correct?
Absolutely. Different chess clubs. Robotics is really, really big right now. All three of our schools have robotics teams, and they qualify for the championships down at the Chaffetz Arena on the campus of St. Louis University. So if a student wants to get involved in the Hazelwood School District, we have something for every student.
That's great. What, one of the other things that is really amazing is your transportation department. To get all these school buses coordinated so they go to, every stop that they got to go to. And in some cases, depending on the street they live on, I live on Jamestown Road.
Mm-hmm.
When my children went to Jamestown, which is like about a block and a half from my house, the school bus picked them up because they didn't want kids walking on that particular road. How difficult is the transportation for a school district? I mean, that seems like it'd be really tough.
It is a big job with all of the routes and the coordination and getting the students to school on time and back home on time. And we've got three different levels. We have the high school run first, and then we've got the middle school run, and then the elementary run. We have 134 buses, and I am proud to say this past June we received over a 97% first run pass rate. We've received this award by the Missouri Highway Patrol and the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education for 7 years in a row. Our mechanics and our transportation department does an outstanding job juggling not only the routes but also having safe buses on the road.
Yeah, that has got to be a logistics nightmare. It has to be, to knowing exactly where to stop, what house to stop at, which corner to stop at. If you're missing a student, I mean, I've seen the school buses. They'll stop on Jamestown Road. Wait a second till the kid runs outside, knowing they know this house is where a kid's got. They don't wait to see the kid there. They know that that's where a kid's got to be picked up. So that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a big job, and our folks behind the scenes in our transportation department, they do an outstanding job. And students are expected to be there at their bus stops maybe 10 minutes before and 10 minutes after. So our bus drivers, they do a nice job in waiting for students. All of our jobs are important in the school district, Mayor. My job is not any more important than our bus driver's job, because if the students don't get to school safely and on time, then we can't do our jobs as teachers and administrators. So many cases the bus driver's job is more important than our job, because they are the only group of people that perform their job with their back to students. And many times we have about 60 students on the bus, and it's dangerous when you turn your back to a student sometimes.
Wow, now the students in the Hazelwood district are all great.
Absolutely. No, we have great students.
Not a problem, I'm sure. What we're getting into the winter season and the snow season, and everybody wants to know, I guess, what is the criteria for closing school, and then what is your procedure when you do? Because it'll be timely, because that's coming up.
Yeah, it is coming, and last year we had a lot of experience with that. We had probably 7 or 8 snow days that we had to call school off. Our primary concern is the safety and welfare of our students, and if the students aren't safe, then we go through a number of factors. We look at the weather forecast. We look at the road conditions. We look at the temperature in terms of if it's well below 0, And so there are a number of different factors that we take into consideration. But the primary factor is whether or not it is going to be safe for our students to stand at the bus stop.
Well, it's, all the roads you go in and all these little, little back roads that may not be plowed for, days after a snowstorm. That is that certainly is a consideration.
Absolutely.
That could be a real problem.
Yeah, we have 78 square miles, Mayor. And so you're exactly right. We have residential areas, and sometimes we have, rural areas. And so we have to take all of that into consideration.
Okay. We were talking a little bit ago about misbehaving maybe students on a school bus or something. What type of programs does the school have for students that misbehave? A lot of schools have community service and things like that. Does Hazelwood have those type of things?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do have community service, but we also have our student handbook. Those lay out the expectations and the guidelines for behavior. And sometimes our students, how great that they are, sometimes they don't follow what we would like for them to follow. They don't follow the expectations. And so a lot of it depends on the infraction. It could be a minor infraction, it could be something more serious, but we want to make sure that it's a developmental approach. Our job is to use an educational approach. We talk to students, we get the counselor involved, sometimes we get the social worker involved depending on what the incident is. We use discipline as an opportunity to educate the child and to change their behavior as opposed to a punitive discipline and punish method.
Okay, so when I went to school, I spent a lot of time in the library and in the corner, so that's out nowadays, huh?
Yeah, those days are out, the paddles are out.
Well, I had the nuns, I had the rulers, see my big knuckles?
Right, yeah, the knuckles are out, the rulers, all of that's out. We take a calm, rational approach. It's like a learning experience. We want to teach kids the proper way to do things and teach them the proper behavior and talk to them about the expectations. And I am proud to say we have a positive behavioral intervention and support system. We had many of our schools earn awards for the good behavior of our students too.
Now, you don't hear too much about any problems, so I'm sure those students are few and far between. Let's talk about bullying. That's a topic that's on everybody's mind nowadays, about the bullying of classmates and so on. Does the teachers kind of look for bullying, or if a student's being bullied, to try to change their behavior of the other students?
Well, let me just say this. I just did an interview with Carol Daniel at KMOX last Friday about this topic. And we take a proactive approach. We know that it exists. It's very, very sad when one child is bullying. So we take a no-nonsense approach to bullying. We have policies and procedures against bullying. The other thing that we do a lot of proactive things. We do a lot of education. Our teachers are trained in recognizing some of the signs of bullying. Our students are also trained. We ask our students to take a pledge against bullying. And so we do a number of things to be proactive. And then if there is an incident of bullying, we react right away. We get the parents involved, we talk to the students. Many times we talk to the bystanders. No one deserves the right to be bullied. Everyone deserves the right to a quality education. And so, and we want every student to feel safe. Safety is everyone's responsibility. What we tell our students is, if there's something that's not right, whether it's bullying or if someone has something in the school that they shouldn't have, the right thing to do is to go tell the nearest teacher, counselor, and administrator, and we will take care of it.
Okay, and this is Anti-Bullying Month.
Yes, this is.
So it's kind of a pertinent topic at this particular time.
Absolutely, and we have already sent messages out earlier this month to our principals and to our teachers to have them just to review our plans and reinforce our anti-bullying efforts.
While we're talking about plans, I'm sure that you have plans in place if something catastrophic happens at a school or something. What type of procedure do you go through if something happens? Like, let's assume they have a shooter at a school or somebody breaks into school or, something along those lines. Hope it never happens, but at least parents will know that, you have something in place and you have thought about it and, you have a procedure.
Yeah, 2 years ago, this is another point of pride. 2 years ago, when the unfortunate incident at Sandy Hook Elementary School occurred, Hazelwood was the first school district to train their entire district. All 2,400 employees of ours were trained in the active intruder safety drills. Back in the day, Jonesboro, Arkansas, Portland, Oregon, Virginia Tech, what they were teaching back then was to duck and hide. And so what we learned during our training, that was the wrong thing to do because that created mass casualties. And so what we have been taught and what we've learned and what we are training our staff to do is to have an options-based program. We want our staff to either evade the shooter by blocking the doorway with a chair or with a belt. We were trained how to do that. Escape, going out of a window if it's safe, if a shooter's on one side of the building. And we can get students and staff out safely. That's what we want to do. It's not just duck, cover, and hide. We want to give our staff and our students options. And I'm very proud that Hazelwood was the first school district in the county that went to this option-based system. We involved our entire community. We involved our Board of Education. We had our 3 police departments, Hazelwood, St. Louis County, and Florissant worked together with us, our 5 fire protection districts. We reviewed and reevaluated all of our safety plans. And this is one of the things I am most proud of as superintendent, because the safety and welfare of our students and staff is our #1 priority. I talked about student achievement, but if students don't feel safe, then they won't be able to learn.
Right. Well, the students and the parents both have
Absolutely.
to. The parents have to feel that the students are safe, and the students have to be safe, feel that they're safe in the building. So, sounds like you got a good plan. You got everything. Where if anything does happen, hopefully it never does, but you're prepared if it does. And it could even be a storm. I mean, we have tornadoes and stuff around here, and you never know what the next challenge is going to be, and especially when you have that many students and that many people in one place.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned the storms. Just a little plug. In Hazelwood, we had a tornado a few years ago, and we responded in helping our community, recover from that tornado, that devastating act, by working with the city, working with the United Way, working with some of the other social service agencies, working with the police, working with Mayor Robinson over in the city of Hazelwood, and we really reached out and helped our community recover from that tornado. You mentioned that.
Yeah, that was a great effort, and it's the community partnerships that we all have. I mean, we have a partnership with you, St. Louis County Police have a partnership with you, Hazelwood, and if one particular area has a problem, the other areas can come in and help, and that's a great thing.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about you, Dr. Tobias. What's your educational background?
Well, I'm a native St. Louisan, born and raised. I grew up in the North St. Louis, Grand and North Market, went to Bashan High School, and my parents in 10th grade moved to St. Louis County. I lived off of Bermuda Road, and born and bred there, and so I'm a proud product of the Ferguson-Florissant School District, graduating from McClure High School, and was fortunate enough to be a part of 2 state championship basketball teams back in the day, and went to college at Umslow, got my bachelor's degree from the University of Missouri St. Louis, master's degree from Truman State, and a doctorate degree from St. Louis University. Been in education over 25 years or so, and worked in some private schools, St. Louis Country Day School, worked in Parkway for 13 years, Riverview Gardens for 2 years, and been in Hazelwood for the last 12 years, the last 3 as superintendent. Born and bred North County.
Well, hey, that's a good thing. Me too. I grew up in Berkeley and went to Berkeley, which is part of Ferguson Florissant now.
Absolutely.
So, you know, my high school's gone. The airport took it, but hey, you know, what the heck?
I'll tell you
Progress.
I'll tell you another little story. My wife used to teach at Berkeley High School.
Oh, right.
And then she moved to Parkway North the year before I went there, and so we've been married for over 25 years or so.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Yeah, you took one of my questions away from me, because one of the questions I was, what high school did you graduate from? She already told me that.
Yeah.
You know, what the heck? What is some of the most significant changes you've seen in education during your tenure, you know, as being an educator? What's some of the most significant?
I think we talked about one earlier. That's the safety, the emphasis on safe and secure schools. I think another one is community engagement, and that's where I'm so proud of the work that we've done engaging our community in the Hazelwood School District. A couple of weeks ago, we had over 400 of our staff members, students, legislators, you were there, of course, policemen, and members of our community attend our annual fall town hall meeting. And so we provided parents with a menu of sessions. That's what they wanted. And so at the end of the second session, parents had the opportunity to ask us questions. And so despite the fact that it was pouring down raining, we had over 400 brave patrons attend our fall town hall meeting. Recently we held a college fair at Hazelwood East High School, a college and career fair. We had over 1,500 of our parents in our community, elementary, middle, high school parents and their children attend our college and career fair. We had over 130 colleges, universities, technical and trade schools represented, and we also had the military there. And so community engagement is very, very important right now. And I'm pleased to say that Hazelwood is reaching out, reestablishing positive relationships with our parents and our community and our elected officials like you.
Yeah, well, your Hazelwood School District is very transparent in the things that they do, and you know, and you do have a lot of different programs. I enjoy reading your newsletter. I mean, people can get your newsletter just by subscribing to it, and it has a lot of wonderful information about the school district in it too.
Thank you.
Well, as we wrap up here, thank you very much for this interview, Dr. Tobias.
Thank
We'll
you,
do
Mayor.
this again.
Okay.
Let's try to do this at least once a year, and you know, give an update on what's happening in Hazelwood School District, because you know, everybody's interested.
Great.
It's their school district. They should be interested.
That's right. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for watching our show this evening. If you have any questions for me, you can contact me at www.cityofblackjack.com, or you can call me at area code 314-355-0400. Thank you for watching. Good evening.
After a car accident, Linda Davis needed CPR. Bill Hamilton needed temporary shelter when a fire destroyed his home. During an operation, Haley Reynolds needed a blood transfusion.
Excuse me, may I go into that room, please?
Next year, revenue growth again will be a focus. Top priority.
Thank you for giving me blood.
Thank you for giving me shelter.
Thank you for saving my life.
Support the Red Cross and change a life. starting with your own.